The story begins under the moonlight, where the god of death prepares to claim a man's life. Desperate, the man begs for a way to survive. The god tells him he can live if a girl sacrifices her life and spirit for him, and to obtain her heart, he must offer his own in return. The scene shifts to a foreign land where a man is running along a riverbank. His run is interrupted by a giant wave carrying a mysterious, naked man with a jade pendant. The man bewitches him with his glowing blue eyes, stealing his clothes. This mysterious man then appears in downtown, where he demonstrates abilities like apparating, seeing the past, and stopping a car from running over a boy. As people gather, butterflies appear, causing everyone to fall asleep. An old woman in white approaches the man, bows, and takes him to a horse-drawn carriage, followed by more butterflies. When everyone wakes up, they forget what they saw. In China, Shen Luo works at a matchmaking company but faces constant failure. After a heated argument with a rude client, she storms out. Soon after, her landlord calls to evict her for 2 months of unpaid rent, making her day even worse. In the USA, the mysterious man looks at photos from 150 years ago and asks the lady in white if she's Angela's descendant. It's revealed that they are mer people, and he is the mer prince. The scene flashes back 150 years, when he was in human form. His friend poisoned him with Angel's trumpet, and in his delirium, the friend summoned a hooded sorcerer, marked with a tattoo on his neck. The sorcerer used a magical blade to extract a spiritual pearl and placed it in a heart-shaped silver box. In the present, Wu Julan, the mer prince, tells Violet that his body is weakening, and he has little time left without the pearl. Violet reveals that she has found the pearl, which can restore his life. Shen Luo visits her grandfather on an island, where Wu Julan is searching for the pearl. Dr. Zhang suggests she needs someone to rely on, but she refuses. While walking, Shen Luo meets Wu Julan, who steals her water and asks for more. After drinking several bottles, he asks how he can repay her, but she assumes he's flirting and rejects him. When he asks her name, she thinks he's the person Dr. Zhang wanted to introduce. Shen Luo returns home feeling nostalgic. That night, Wu Julan sees her at a night market and notices her kindness, though his true goal is to find the spiritual pearl hidden in her house, as Violet had mentioned. Shen Luo is surprised when he shows up at her house, thinking he's there for a date. Ignoring her objections, Wu Julan enters and starts searching for the pearl. Shen Luo calls Dr. Zhang but concludes that Wu Julan must be one of his mental patients. Wu Julan questions Shen Luo about her surname and whether her house is ancestral, which it isn't. He decides to stay on the second floor. Shen Luo, though reluctant, allows him to stay on the condition that he doesn't cause trouble. She sets a trap in her room to prevent him from entering. Using magic, Wu Julan moves bottles and enters her room, but merely stares at her sleeping before leaving to continue his search. The next day, Shen Luo visits her grandfather. She tells her friends about the mental patient who likes to drink water, but they are surprised to learn she let him stay at her house. The next day, Wu Julan attempts to clean the house while searching for the pearl, but ends up causing chaos. He breaks the TV, pours water on the gas stove, and unknowingly cooks with toilet water. Meanwhile, Shen Luo and her friends rush over, expecting the house to be ransacked. Instead, they find Wu Julan calmly serving food with a deadpan expression. While Dr. Zhang is easily convinced, Scrappy remains skeptical. As they eat, a gas leak alarms them, leading to Wu Julan's interrogation. When he casually reveals he used well water, actually from the toilet, they throw him out in disgust. Despite being kicked out, Wu Julan lingers until nightfall. When Shen Luo returns, she lists his crimes to drive him away, but he simply replies, "I only know you." Standing in the rain, his loneliness moves her, and she reluctantly takes him in as her servant. The next day, she gives him a makeover, cutting his hair and dressing him in modern clothes, only to be stunned by his striking appearance. Curious, she asks why he came to the island. He reveals he's searching for someone, leading to a flashback of his betrayal. His former friend, Du Xiaolin, had stolen the spiritual pearl from the sorcerer he summoned. Scrappy continues collecting silver antique boxes, but his true reason for returning to the island after becoming a company manager remains a mystery. He cryptically tells his lackey, "Don't ask, just do as I say." Meanwhile, Wu Julan adapts to modern life, learning house chores and studying technology manuals, while Shen Luo grows increasingly captivated by his presence. At the hospital, Dr. Zhang flirts with nurses until he spots Shen Luo, immediately dropping his act to rush to her. Amused, she acknowledges his usual antics. He urges her to find a boyfriend to make her dying grandfather happy and warns her to kick Wu Julan out for her safety, but she refuses, admitting she enjoys having him around. Shen Luo visits her grandfather, who is playing Chinese chess and drinking tea with Scrappy. When the tea runs out, Scrappy offers to fetch more. During their conversation, Grandpa asks about Shen Luo's boyfriend, and she lies, claiming he's busy with work. Grandpa, eager to meet him before he dies, is disappointed. While looking for tea, Scrappy finds a heart-shaped silver box box. Excited, he takes photos and sends them to his boss. Returning to Grandpa, he casually asks about antiques and offers to buy them, but Grandpa refuses. After the hospital visit, Scrappy and Shen Luo walk together. Scrappy, in love with her, reminisces about their childhood, recalling how she was the only one who treated him kindly when others bullied him. Shen Luo, uninterested, makes an excuse to leave. A flashback shows Scrappy taking revenge on the bullies and vowing to always protect her. On her way home, Shen Luo meets the mayor, who warns her about a fugitive on the loose. He hands her a photo of the criminal, and she is shocked to see that it resembles Wu Julan, only with a beard. At home, Shen Luo anxiously watches Wu Julan, disturbed by his resemblance to the fugitive. She demands that he leave, claiming she knows his secret. Wu Julan, misunderstanding, assumes she has discovered he's a merman and aggressively asks how she found out. Terrified, Shen Luo begs him to take her valuables and leave. Confused, Wu Julan wonders if she knows his true identity but eventually lets her go. Frantic, Shen Luo calls the mayor to report Wu Julan, only to be told that the real criminal has already been arrested. She quickly drops the matter. Feeling guilty, Shen Luo decides to make amends, but Wu Julan remains suspicious, wondering if she knows the truth about his past. That night, he sneaks into the backyard and is horrified to see Angel's trumpet trees. When Shen Luo offers him tea as an apology, Wu Julan panics, thinking it's poisoned. To reassure him, she drinks it herself and playfully pretends to die. When he asks about the trees, she explains that she grows them for medicinal purposes, as they are expensive. At the hospital, Dr. Jiang continues flirting with the nurses, who are annoyed, thinking he only has eyes for Shen Luo. To their surprise, Jiang casually mentions that Shen Luo has a boyfriend living with her. Grandpa overhears and is thrilled, eager to meet Wu Julan. Meanwhile, Shen Luo is enjoying the view of her garden when she suddenly smells something burning. Lu rushes to investigate the smoke, only to find that Wu Julan has burned her angel's trumpet trees. Furious, she tells him to leave, but trips and falls into his arms just as her grandfather arrives with Jiang, mistaking them for a couple. Grandpa is delighted. During lunch, Grandpa questions Wu Julan about his background, making Lu suspicious. Jiang reveals the truth, angering her. Grandpa explains that Lu's parents divorced when she was a child, and that she is his sole heir. He advises Wu Julan to improve his finances before marriage, but Wu Julan mentions they already live together, leading to a misunderstanding. Pleased, Grandpa asks Lu to bring Wu Julan to the hospital daily. Afterward, Lu offers Wu Julan a deal. Continue pretending to be her boyfriend, and she will clear his debt. Scrappy is on a video call with his boss, showing him a photo of a silver box he took from Lu's grandpa. Meanwhile, Lu talks to her goat about Wu Julan, unaware that Wu Julan is silently watching her from the balcony. The next day at the hospital, Wu Julan overhears Scrappy's lackey saying he has the silver box and chases after him, only to find it's a different one. Scrappy tries to persuade Grandpa to trade his silver box for money by showing him an antique box, but Grandpa denies knowing anything about it. Lu arrives, forcing Jiang to explain their fake relationship to Scrappy to keep him quiet. Saddened by her grandfather's worsening condition, Lu doesn't notice Wu Julan watching over her again. Meanwhile, Scrappy refuses to buy more antiques from his lackey, leading to a rift between them. Scrappy and Jiang recall a past memory where young Scrappy wrote Lu a love letter before leaving the island, but she never replied. In the present, adult Scrappy confesses his love for Lu again in front of Jiang. At Lu's house, she questions Wu Julan to make their pretense more convincing. When she asks about his jade locket, he says it was given to him by someone special, but refuses to elaborate. Regarding friendships, he dismisses them, saying human friendships are untrustworthy as people eventually betray one another. Meanwhile, Scrappy's mysterious boss threatens him over a video call, demanding the silver box immediately. Desperate, Scrappy sneaks into Grandpa's hospital room but is interrupted by the staff. Suspicious of Wu Julan, Grandpa conspires with Jiang to test him. First, Jiang, disguised as an old man, drops a gold bracelet, which Wu Julan returns without interest. Next, Jiang dresses as an attractive woman to seduce him, but Wu Julan walks away, proving he is neither greedy nor lustful. Finally, they stage a kidnapping, forcing him to choose who should be killed first, putting his loyalty and feelings to the ultimate test. Wu Julan insists on being killed first, as Lu had suggested, surprising Grandpa, who is disguised as the kidnapper. Impressed by his selflessness, Grandpa watches as Lu devises an escape plan. Wu Julan helps by breaking free from his ropes with his bare hands. In a swift move, he saves Lu, holding her in his arms as he leaps from a 5-meter-high rooftop in a vampire-like Edward Cullen style. Grandpa then reveals his true identity and praises Lu for choosing Wu Julan, calling him a good man. He blesses them for marriage and makes Wu Julan promise to take care care of Lu for a lifetime. Touched by everything, Lu promises to be Wu Julan's friend and stand by him through good and bad. In response, Wu Julan warns her never to come looking for him if he ever disappears. Scrappy sneaks into Lu's house searching for the silver box. Wu Julan senses an intruder, but before he can catch him, Scrappy escapes. Finding nothing valuable missing, Wu grows suspicious. Moments later, Scrappy arrives with Jiang, pretending to be shocked by the break-in and subtly shifting Jiang's suspicion toward Wu Julan. Meanwhile, Wu and Lu stroll through the marketplace where Lu proudly shows him off as her boyfriend. Annoyed, Wu reminds her that their act was only meant to convince Grandpa, accusing her of going beyond their agreement. Grandpa learns about the break-in and grows suspicious of Scrappy. Confronting him directly, he asks if he was involved. Scrappy defends himself, reminding Grandpa that he has been by his side since childhood and questioning why he would suspect him. Still doubtful, Grandpa asks to be left alone and checks his silver box, relieved to find it safe. Meanwhile, the mayor offers Lu the opportunity to represent the island during the upcoming Mer People Day celebration. She hesitates, unwilling to wear the traditional topless costume, but ultimately agrees for the money. Back home, she tries to convince Wu Julan to be the face of the festival. Surprised, Wu Julan learns about the event, and Lu explains that it honors a merman who once helped an elderly islander. Scrappy gives money to his lackey to mend their rift, seeking his help for a favor. Meanwhile, Wu Julan tells Lu that her understanding of mer people is flawed. They were once rulers of the sea, incredibly beautiful creatures whose tears turned into pearls, and they possessed lifespans of thousands of years. Despite his reluctance, Lu threatens him into taking her place and dressing as a mermaid for the festival. The next day, to Lu's surprise, Wu Julan becomes the center of attention, especially among the women, who adore him in the mermaid costume. This irks Jiang, who always considered himself the most handsome man on the island. Wu Julan rushes to the hospital to bring Grandpa to the festival. During the visit, Grandpa warns Lu about Scrappy, saying he is no longer the same boy they once knew. The Scrappy who returned after 15 years has changed. After they leave, Scrappy's lackey sneaks into Grandpa's room to search for the silver box, but is interrupted by a nurse. At the festival, Wu Julan participates in the traditional garland throwing ceremony. As soon as the garland touches the water, the fish become unusually excited and drawn to him. Seeing this, Grandpa frowns, visibly disturbed, and asks Lu to take him home, claiming he is unwell. On the way back, he questions Wu Julan's true reason for coming to the island. Hesitant but unable to lie, Lu admits that he is here to retrieve something from someone. Meanwhile, Scrappy's lackey reports that the silver box is not in Grandpa's room. Soon after, Scrappy receives a call from his boss, who warns him that his patience is running out. Wu Julan tells Lu that the festival's legend is wrong. In reality, 100 years ago, a merman formed a deep friendship with a human and shared his greatest secret. However, the human betrayed him, stealing his most precious possession and attempting to kill him. The saddest part, Wu Julan explains, is that the human never felt guilty, never apologized, and wasn't even afraid that his descendants might be cursed for his deceit. He then asks Lu, "What would you have done if you were that merman?" But Lu dismisses it as just a story. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Grandpa speaks to the silver box, acknowledging that after a century, someone has finally returned to reclaim it. Later that night, he asks Lu to visit him early the next morning. As she sleeps, Wu Julan is shown silently watching over her in her room.